All right, guys, what's up? Gary G with Stay Slick back again. Today is a very special day because I actually get to meet in person with the team that probably inspires me the most every day, constantly helping me improve my game, and has taught me pretty much all I know about business. So we have Joel and Sal from Details with us today, and we're going to talk, just going to talk shop about detailing. There was a couple questions that came through from you guys, some stuff that I wanted to ask that I would have asked myself when I started. So hopefully this video helps you guys get your business going or improve it. So let's do it. Okay, first question I'm going to ask these guys. I think it's important to know where people start. So that's the first question I'm going to ask you guys is to introduce yourself, how you got started, doing what you do, and kind of like a brief story of how you became Details.
Okay. So the business started in Oakland approximately 6 years ago when I had left my my operations job at a medical facility. I left the clinic and I wanted to find something that I really enjoyed doing, and I enjoyed cleaning my car. At the time, I had a black vehicle, and I was learning, how to really take care of the vehicle, how to keep it in its best looking, shape, like everything from the paint to the rims to the interior, the leather. I wanted it to be one of those cars where every time somebody got in, it was just they were just impressed with, I didn't want the experience of driving it to change from the day that I bought it.
Yeah.
That was a big thing, once it kind of got dirty and didn't shine as much. It just the pleasure of driving it and the experience was completely different. It was a high performance vehicle, so I wanted the vehicle to really feel at its peak every time I drove it. And so the obsession started with that. That's where it started. So I pretty much started in, worst case scenario for somebody trying to detail, it was a black vehicle. So I'm trying to perfect something that's never going to be perfect. So
it's good training.
Yeah, great training. And at the time, a very good friend of mine who we lived together, we had purchased a home together. He had a black vehicle as well. So I was just going back and forth, working on both of our vehicles constantly. And that, actually, he's the one who designed our branding and did our brands for us. So, but he allowed me to work on his vehicle as well, which I guess anyone would, be like, oh, well, yeah, sure, free polish, of course, So that's how it started, and then slowly I would have clients come to my home, and they would pull into the driveway, and I would work on their cars, and I had about 5 or 6 of those clients that I would work on, and I had a relationship with the mechanic that was in San Leandro, close by. So I was just getting jobs here and there, nothing crazy, nothing official, but it was, I was starting to get a little bit of traction. After a while, I said, I want to do this full time. I had 2 part-time jobs during that after I left my, the operations director position. Just to, I had mortgage to pay, I had bills. So with that, I kept detailing and then working those side jobs here and there. So what happened was we began to kind of discuss our future. My buddy and I, he was getting into a relationship where things were getting, pretty serious. So we decided to sell the home. Once we sold the home, I moved back to my hometown. He moved to where she lived, where she was from, and then I started the business. I said, this is a good time to kind of start fresh.
Right,
I have a little bit of financial backing. I have a little bit of breathing room. I can start up and I can, really live the way that I want to live. Like I have a fresh start. So took care of everything I had to financially, and started really small, really humble at working out of my Baja. And at that point, I started with the branding. I started with the with the marketing. I started with everything that you would do as a business person, business cards, just the getting your name out there in any way you can.
Yep.
Friends and family, really trying to to go outward and make this happen. On a mission to make this my full-time job and provide income to take care of myself and support.
Do what you're passionate about for money.
Exactly. So that during that, it's extremely hard. You're dealing with a lot of different emotions, a lot of different questions. All this stuff is going on with you, but for the most part, I stuck to my guns. I didn't give up on myself. It got really hard at some times. Actually, before I had left Oakland, as I was starting the business, and this was before Sal had even gotten to the picture as far as working, within the business. Him and Ricky showed up. A good friend of ours, Ricky, showed up one day, and they had a generator for me. You know, and that to me was like, okay, I got people on my side that really think I can do this.
Yeah,
so
which
that
is what you need.
Oh yeah,
You
and
need
for
that,
me, that was probably the most motivating part of the business was seeing other people that believed in me. Because there's going to be times where you almost don't believe in yourself. You may make mistakes. You may not have clients at some point. You may go through a time where it's just really rough financially. There's a lot of sacrifice that come along with this. It's not just, oh, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to take out a loan and I'm going to take care of all the costs that I have to do and then I'm going to go out and make money. It doesn't work that way. It can. It's a very risky way of doing things. I wouldn't recommend that, but there's different ways to start a business. I wanted it to start slow and steady, and I wanted to make sure that it was something that I was going to be passionate about and something I can grow and something that I was able to scale by myself and something I was able to do on my own. I wasn't going to need additional people. I wasn't going to need to rely on other people. Right. It was something that I could, you're able to operate a business as a one-man show very effectively if you have good time management skills, if you're professional, if you're good with scheduling, if you're good with customer service in general. There's so many basic things that people lack on a day-to-day basis with just in business overall. But if you can hone in on those few key things, you'll succeed. But during that time, I was just letting my technical side just kind of grow. And with me coming back to my hometown, that kind of gave my business a little boost too, because now people are like, oh, Joel's back in town.
Yeah,
and there's a part of that too that was, and Sal has seen this whole progression. And I think that's why he was, why it almost was like a no-brainer for him to jump on board, because he already saw the struggle. He saw the foundation that I had already laid, and he had seen people's responses, and he saw how I was conducting business. He was like, well, I know my brother's not going to do anything halfway. He's not going to slack off, or he's not going to cut corners. Like, he's going to be, he wants to be the best out there. And that was always the goal. Even though I was working out in my little Baja by myself, I always remained professional, and I always, conducted myself as a business owner, and I always carried the business in my mind where it is now, even when it was at a small scale. And I think that's very important for people to understand. Like, you have to represent your business as what you want it to be, not what it is right now. Because
it's like manifesting. It's like putting a vision board on the wall of the house that you're going to have, and one day it becomes a reality.
Yes. You have to have. This is why I believe goal setting is such a huge. And I feel like it's really, goal setting is not, it's not talked about enough, because you need to set goals, because you're going to break those goals, you're going to exceed those goals, and then you're going to make bigger goals. That's what keeps, like, we have goals that we set on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis. Like, there's things, that we set goal. We were doing our accounting today, and we were just talking about, like, okay, well, now we're exceeding this goal. Now we need to go to this. Like, it doesn't stop. And we're operating this out of one van, and we're still expanding, out of this one van. So our idea of expansion is a lot different than most people's. I think.
And that's what we were talking about. And I think that's important to talk on, because myself. I didn't start the business very long ago, so I see a lot of people that are doing, maybe I wouldn't say it's a mistake, but are kind of going the same route that we talked about, where they're thinking, oh, I got to get more vans, I got to get a shop, I got to do all this before I can be a legitimate business. And we were talking how your ideas are a little different than that.
Yeah, and Sal can really attest to this because Sal's coming into a new industry. I've been in the industry for a while, so I've seen that, right now there's this huge influx of detailers out there.
There's a lot.
There's a lot, and how many are going to really stick around? I don't know. I've already seen some come on and fall off or just be like, oh, this isn't for me. Because once it gets hard, it's easy to quit and just go to the next thing, It's not easy. This is not and it's not for everybody. Like I said, there's more that comes along with it than just going and cleaning a car. You're sacrificing things. You're putting your livelihood on the line. You may be at some point neglecting your families, to the point where you're so passion driven about making this happen, where maybe there's going to be relationships that are going to suffer for a while, and all of those things need to be kind of understood from the beginning. If you have a vision of something that you really want to pursue, it's going to take a lot of sacrifice. But I think Sal can kind of attest to the direction we're going in as far as expansion and what he sees with his expertise in the actual field and what people are doing now opposed to what we're doing. So I think Sal can kind of answer the question as far as, like what's going on and how we're expanding, how our idea of expansion is different than others.
It's going to be a good segue, because actually one of the questions I had on here was plans for the future. Why detailing? We've already covered that. Why detailing? We covered it because of passion. Excuse me. Covered it because of passion. And then the plans for the future is kind of what we're getting into is where you guys are at now, where you want to go.
Yeah.
So this is a good time.
So Sal can kind of let you know our idea of expansion, versus the traditional idea.
Right.
What's happening now to a lot of guys, and discussions that we've had with other professionals that have been in the business for a while.
And I call him Brother Sal, but really, if you guys don't know, he's literally Joel's brother. If you didn't know that, I didn't know that at first, but then he said it, and I was like, oh yeah, it makes perfect sense. I mean, they look like each other, so. But yes, this is Sal, this is his brother. So you go ahead.
Yeah, when people talk expanding, we couple of things that stand out, right? Expand, get a shop. Expand, get another van. We don't do things. We're not doing it like that. Our vision of expanding is optimizing our full potential.
Right.
What that means, we're making constant changes to our van daily. When I mean daily, it's daily.
Yeah.
Like, don't put that there no more. It's ever evolving. We're expanding as far as our knowledge, as far as our reach.
Right.
Not physically, but just putting things in place where we could do more.
Okay.
With just us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't realize their potential.
Yeah.
Because they think, okay, well, I'm here, I have all my equipment, I have my staff, we're doing what we do normally, and that's it. But they're not thinking, they're not looking on. We're probably, since Sal has been with us, we're probably on about our version like 5.0 of like revising, constant revision. Like we're in a state of constant revision. Like this thing is never stopping because we're always finding improvement. We're always finding different efficiencies. We're always finding different ways of making the business not only operate more smoothly, but faster and deliver, the highest level of quality at the same time.
And it's funny because I watch pretty much every detailer on YouTube. I watch all you guys, like everybody. I've watched everybody Reyes has worked with. I've watched people from before that, just Larry from Ammo and from all this stuff forever. And some people talk about it, but not a lot of people talk about how their business is getting better by talking about what you're saying, like efficiency, processes, doing better with what you already have. Everybody's always talking about, I'm only doing good if I get another van, if I get another employee, if I get another shop, if I have every customer on the block. That's all they're ever talking about. And I don't say that to knock anybody. I'm saying that is a way to do it, but it seems like that's the way everybody is saying they should do it. But it's like I said in the beginning, when I became inspired was when you guys were talking about processes. You see me, I even post about processes even more now.
Oh, yeah.
Just talking to you guys, like just simple things like when I talk about how I clean wheels, I start fender wells, tires, barrel of the wheel, face of the wheel, lug nuts. it doesn't matter if that's not yours, but the fact that it's yours and you do it every single time and you get faster at doing these are the processes you're talking about that make things work the way they do. And I think that people don't talk about that as much, and they should.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what should come before the expansion.
Oh, definitely. Because you figure, me and Sal talk about this all the time. It's like, okay, well, if you figure, if you're not even doing same day appointments, you have not pushed yourself to your full potential.
Right.
Which most detailers, I would probably say about 95% can't do same day detailing. Like if somebody calls them, oh, I'm sorry, unless they have nothing on the schedule, or maybe they have one. Whatever. Yes, there's times where they can, but on a day-to-day basis, can most detailers do same day scheduling? Probably not. But you can. Me and Sal do it running with 2 people. Yeah. We do it all the time.
Yeah.
Like we do it all the time. Like we increase productivity and income probably by about 20 to 25% just by offering same day appointments. That's because we have honed down on all of our efficiencies. And as far as, physical things that people consider expansion, another van, a shop, better equipment, all of these things, those are physical things. That has nothing to do with expansion. Expansion is actually, growing a reach, making a broader area for you to work within. You're expanding your perimeter. You're expanding the time that you're able to work within. Like that's expansion. Your expanding is growing profitability. It's not physical things. People get it twisted, but Sal, we actually made a video about this, and we're not going to post it because it came off too hard. Too hard.
It's gonna rub people the wrong way. And
it's gonna hurt.
That's not what we're trying to do.
Yeah, like
we're just trying to.
We want to see everybody succeed.
Yeah.
And it's hard for us to see people doing things that are not smart for their business.
Yeah, but sometimes I'm the type of person that had to learn from my mistakes. So tough love is always best for me.
Yeah, and we don't call it tough love. We just call it love.
Yeah.
We're like, yo, that's not even tough.
That's what you need to
That's
do.
just love.
Yeah.
Like anybody that cares about you or loves you or understands business would not be giving you this advice or would let you know that maybe this isn't the right direction. And I'm not saying for everybody, because it's not. There's some that are like, okay, well, my business is crazy. This is our specialty and we can't handle it. We do need another van. Okay, I get it. But make sure that there's no sense in me and Sal. We get this question all the time. Are you guys going to get another van? Because they see how good we're doing.
Yeah.
As soon as we get another van, if we're only making a few $100s more, it's probably not even worth it. No. It's probably not even worth the headache of having a whole nother van.
Literally double it or more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me to even consider that.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense for me.
Well, because everything doubles. Your overhead doubles.
Yeah.
You have to buy another set of everything that you got.
You may not even be making as much money as you were making with that one van.
Right.
People don't understand that. Like expansion let me correct myself. Expansion at the wrong time will kill your business.
Right.
It is one of the biggest business killers, and I'm speaking from all broads of business, like a broad spectrum of like everything, restaurants,
right,
delivery services, Starbucks expanded too fast.
Oh my gosh.
And what did they have to do?
They're 10 on the same block.
They had to shut down how many a few years back?
Krispy Kreme.
Same thing. Remember Krispy Kreme?
Same thing.
Yep.
Krispy Kreme, son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, this one's doing good. Let's open up another one a block away.
Well, because you think that what you see on paper is gonna keep multiplying every time.
Right. It doesn't work like that. You would think the original person. You would think I make $100 a day doing this. If I get another, I'll make $200 a day. No. Not exactly.
No.
But I want Sal to also attach, because now that he's been in the industry for a while, he's starting to see an internal part of why people are doing this too. Mm-hmm. And you could speak to that too, like why people feel like they have to have these certain things, these certain physical, tangible things to feel like a owner or business.
Right. Yeah. I mean, comes with. I always say it comes with. You get a faster car, so you think you're a better driver. Not the case, right? You got the car.
Yeah.
You don't know how to handle the car. Yeah. I mean, I would have known I don't have no fast cars, but I just an example.
I get it.
Yeah, no, everybody's on YouTube, right? We're doing this for YouTube. Everyone's doing that. I totally get it. So you see all these people, a lot of people stunning on there. They got a lot of good stuff. I'm like, oh man, they got that. Wow. Yeah. And like for me, I'm spoiled. Like I got to learn like all the techniques. So when I see someone doing that, I'm like, oh, it's not how. Again, this is just my perspective. That's not how I learn, but there's an easier way. Even if I've not even talk about stuff that I'm trained, just like watching things, and I'm just like, that's not the way you should be doing it. Just
like we talked about with extracting.
Right.
That's probably one of the biggest topics that me and Joel talk about, that we talked about. That
people hate me for this.
One of the biggest things that I want to change is I was getting ready to go out and buy a Mighty, spend $1,000 on a Mighty, and meanwhile I got this $200 steamer that never works right for me. And then I talk to you, and you talk about the importance of a steamer over extractor, where you can have both, but it's more beneficial to. Really, you don't have to use an extractor just because you have it. You don't have to use an extractor just because it makes you look more professional, because it doesn't necessarily. It can actually inflict more damage.
Right.
You only use what you need to use each time, because that's what makes you a professional, right? Yeah. It's your discernment.
Yeah.
So that's what I really learned from you. That's why I'm about ready to make this massive purchase into buying this Chief steamer, which is what I'm going to buy, is because these new processes, I think, are going to be a much better thing.
And think about it, just something simple as using an extractor, a car. People aren't walking around in a car.
Right.
Your feet are on there, and you may spill stuff. So why do you need a high-powered machine to do something where it's not a hallway? It's not getting that much traffic.
It's to me the equivalent is when someone pulls out an extractor when it's unnecessary, which I feel it's unnecessary most of the time. There's times where yes, an extractor is needed.
Yeah.
But if we're extracting something that bad, it's already gone to the foam.
If it's that bad. Way
and if you have to penetrate the foam with moisture, now there's a high probability of mold growth and mildew growth, and not to mention how many times you have to repeat the process of not only drill brushing but saturation, and then the vacuuming portion of the extracting itself onto that material. Like, what kind of damage are you doing to that material in order to get it clean? And there's still no guarantee at that point that it's going to come out. And then you have the wicking effect.
Yeah.
So it's, why are we trying to do all of that? Like, if it's requested, yes, I get it. But for me as a detailer, I'm there to cosmetically remove the stain and to get it to where they're happy. If they say, hey, Joel, this is through the foam and I want you to get it out, okay, I'm probably going to need an extractor, and then I'm going to tell them the risk that may come to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, your job is to make it to where what they see, they don't see anymore.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, just like, when people say, oh, but this seat stains with water. Not necessarily. Most water is not going to stain your seat. There are materials that do stain, but usually they're not understanding that there is dirt all over the surface of your seat.
Which makes
so as soon as water hits the surface, it's leaving a ring because it's dirty. Your seat is dirty. You know what I mean? So when you break it down like that to them, and for instance, if you're trying to extract something like that, now you're going to be extracting for a long time, because now everywhere you got to get wet is going to have a ring, is going to create a ring. Yeah. So why not just steam it out, even it, neutralize it, be done?
Yeah, and
there's no need to be doing more than it's. For me, the way I see it is, do we wet sand every car that we need to polish?
No, but you could.
You could.
But that's not what they're paying
you
for.
Could.
That's
but you
what
could.
For, yeah.
But every time you wet sand, yes, you're going to have an overall better finish when you're done. But you're sacrificing UV protection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something that cannot come back.
Immediately.
You know what I mean? I understand for show vehicles, for certain things where you want that glass finish. Yes, I get it. But
they're not on the same years at a time.
Yeah. It's not, so that's the way I look at it. And, it's just process. But, with these big tools and all this stuff, in the video that me and Sal made that we won't release, maybe we will one day.
Maybe but the time's right.
Yeah, when the time is right, and when we get enough people that are like, okay, I get what these guys are saying. These guys really know what they're doing. They're trying to help. We're not here to put any. We want to see everybody do things well. We want everybody to get out there and succeed and enjoy what they're doing and be in the position that we're in, to be able to go out every day, have fun, joke around, laugh with our clients, be valued in every way from our clients, you know, be happy, and and come home, and our finances are in order, our lives feel good, our minds are stress free, all of that we want all of that for everybody trying to start out. So we don't want to put you guys in a position where you guys feel like you have to buy this equipment, you have to do this process. There's ways of doing it, and I think, and Sal talks about this too, like ego is attached to a lot of this stuff too.
Oh, big time, man.
Ego is attached to all of this stuff.
So
if you don't have the best, if you don't have a Kranzel, if you don't have this, or if you don't have that. I started with some of the worst products you could think of.
This man didn't have a vacuum.
I didn't have a vacuum for the first year. I didn't have a vacuum.
I don't know how you did it without that.
I didn't have a vacuum.
Teach us.
But you can learn how to pick up some stuff with brushes.
Yeah.
Really good. I had a whole bag of just maybe 10 or 15 types of brushes.
Okay.
I was able to get everything out with those brushes.
That's great.
You would, if you look at some of my Instagram photos from the very beginning, a lot of that was done without a vacuum. Yeah. I figured out how to do all stain removal. I didn't have any machines. I had to figure out, and of course I went and tried to find the best chemical. I thought there was a miracle chemical for stain. There's not. It's all technique. So if you can't do it, you shouldn't be picking up machines if you can't do it by hand. That's my philosophy.
Machines just make it more efficient.
Yes, they make it more efficient, and you're able to refine a little bit more. But if you don't understand the foundational process itself, then you may not be getting much of a difference with the machine. There's some machines that are, obviously it's going to help you. I probably should have got a vacuum before, but I was working out of a trunk of a car, and I'm like, I just don't have room for a big vacuum, and it worked for me. It really worked for me, without a vacuum. There was times I was like, I think I had one car that was really, really bad, and I was like, okay, now I need to get a vacuum. I need to get a vacuum. But for the most part, if things go down on us, there's been times where we ran out of stuff or we couldn't do, and it's like, we'll figure it out, because I've been there before. I started from the very bottom, and there's most of the time we use the simplest processes. When we go and do these classic fancy cars, these real high-end cars, $1 million plus vehicles, we go in there with rinseless wash, microfiber towels. The only machines that Sal's usually hand polishing for a few hours out of the day. The glass, and then I'm on the force rotation, refining and jeweling these guys out for hours. That's the only machine that we really use in our vacuum. But as far as that, everything else is, so it kind of goes full circle. We don't necessarily even need all that crazy stuff anymore. Our extractor has been at my dad's house for probably over a year.
I haven't even seen it.
He hasn't even seen it. We haven't used it since he started. I've probably only used it maybe 2 times in the past 3 years.
Okay.
As far as for me, this extractor thing is a myth.
He sees guys use it and stuff, but
I never seen an extractor up close. Oh yeah, no, I lie. I had a guy.
Oh, they don't exist because you haven't seen them first.
Yeah, they don't exist.
Yeah, I just think there's and it's one of those debatable topics too. We get a lot of hate for it. People do people don't believe that I get the results that we produce without one. But once you understand that technique, is far more important than what you're it's I make the analogy all the time. Okay, well, if you put Michael Jordan in a pair of Chuck Taylors, is he gonna be? He's still gonna be Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you put, I don't know, a weaker basketball player in a pair of Jordans, he's a weaker player in basketball.
Yeah,
in Jordans. Yeah. So that's the way we see it. But I don't want anybody to ever feel discouraged about what you have. Whatever it is that you guys have, guys, you guys
most of it.
Yeah, you guys go out there, own it, and be proud of it, man. If you spent your hard-earned money, to go out, and the best pressure washer you could buy is a little Ryobi one, brag about it. I did this with my little Ryobi, one that cost you know, 10 times less than your fancy one. You know what I mean? I still run with a little Ryobi for space efficiency. And for, we talked about this other day, and for reliability. Like, I don't care. Like, that thing is a little tank, and that's what I need with my job. You know, I can't go out and worry about having issues with, you know, with my stuff. Like, it just doesn't, you know, there's some things that people hit on the, you know, like when companies make certain things, it's like, yo, they hit a home run with this thing right here. And that, for me, that's what that is. It's been a little tank to me. It's helped me, you know, with everything. We haven't had any issues. It's simple. I don't need, you know, it's gravity fed. I don't need a pump. I don't need all this crazy stuff. It's a very, very simple setup that we have. And I think people should learn and really utilize and embrace the simplicity of what you can be doing. And don't make it more complex, because you already have a lot of complexities.
Yeah.
You have your finances you have to deal with. You have your accounting. You have your taxes. You have your scheduling. You have your customer service. You have your marketing. You have, you know, your employees if you have any. There's a lot of your time management. There's all these different things that if you don't know business.
What is this taxes thing you talking about?
Do people pay their taxes? I hope so.
Am I supposed to pay taxes? Am I supposed to do that?
So if you're new to business, or you have no experience managing, or you have no experience in finances, all of this is new to you. So don't make it harder on yourself by saying, okay, you're putting more pressure on yourself by saying, okay, I need to get all this stuff, and I don't even know how to use it. Yeah. So I'm gonna make it more complicated for myself. You know, some of these products and some of these, you know, tools, I'm like, I don't even want to mess with this. This is so complicated.
Way too complicated.
Like, I'm like, this is insane. Like, I can't do this. You know, like some of these polishing systems and stuff that people put out, I'm like, no, this isn't gonna work for me. No. I'm not gonna be doing a 4-step polishing system. No. Like, I'm a mobile detailer. I want the best results, the fastest way. You know, and that's what I'm going to stick with. So I found my things and my staples in my business, and that's what I use. So I don't care really at this point what brand it is. What, you know, like I have my things that work for me. They have continued to work, and they're proven. So I'm going to stick with them.
And we talked about it as far as pressure washing the other day. Is I started out with a tiny little cube Greenworks one from Amazon that worked fine for my cars forever. And then when I got the business going, I bought a Ryobi one, the one we're talking about right now. I bought it, and I used it for a little bit until the one that I wanted came in from Amazon, which it's an Active brand. The brand's called Active, and it's 1,800 PSI at 2 gallons a minute. And I'm thinking, oh, people are talking about I got to have this thing. And it's only $250. I got to go get it because it's make me better. Yeah. And I get it, and what happened? I just told you the other day I'm having issues with it surging. Yeah. I can't even count on the thing to run. Yeah. So I took that thing out. I went right back to the store and bought the same one that I thought was the hold me over till I get the good one, and I've never had a problem. Yeah. I've been running it for the last few days. Not a single problem with that thing. Okay, so that was a lot of info right up on the front, and I feel like we just started, but I feel like this is a good time to break. We had someone ask a question that they want to be answered, and I'm going to find that right now. So this is from Oscar. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Oscar Beas or Bass or however you say it. I apologize. But anyways, Oscar's asking you guys, what leather cleaner and conditioner do you use, and how do you apply conditioner?
Okay, so leather cleaner, we use Express Interior cleaner by P&S for all of our interior surfaces. Right. So I think, in my opinion, it's the best interior cleaner out there because it's safe on all surfaces. Okay. It doesn't. It leaves. If it does leave any residue, it's not the agent itself leaving the residue. It's actually any dirt left behind or whatever that's going to leave residue. But it has a beautiful fragrance. It smells amazing. Yeah, it works very, very well. Yeah. It's dilutable. Mm-hmm. And it cleans up really well. Like it's not, you know, some cleaners, and it's not super harsh. It's not harsh on anything. Like you don't have to worry about some cleaners or degreasers or APCs. You have to worry about it getting on leather. You have to worry about it getting on the screens. You have to worry about it getting on chrome finishes, things like that. Express Interior Cleaner has been formulated and made for all interior surfaces. So,
and what's funny is I had watched some videos with, I think it was Rennie talking about it. It might have been with one of the owners. I'm not sure because I'm not familiar with him, but he was talking about how Express Interior was actually being formulated to be a leather cleaner first.
Oh yeah.
I
it was
don't
probably it was probably one of the brothers who's a chemist.
Okay.
Who, you know, if you guys are unfamiliar with PNS, one of the brothers is a chemist, and then the other brother is in charge of most of the day-to-day in sales.
Right. So kind of
so it's a family business, and they literally formulate things as the industry needs them. That's why I really like their products, because they're on the cutting edge. Yes. Like the rags to riches. Like.
Which it's great. I use it now.
It's fantastic.
I used to use all free and clear, like everybody else started out, and I switched over and immediately I use it for my pads.
Oh yeah, they just keep everything nice, like for so much longer. You know.
Yeah, it's a great product.
So we were talking to Bob actually, and he was just like, yeah, it just kind of happened.
What did he say too? Because they listen, and we were talking. He was talking about like, well, how come they don't have this? And he goes, not gonna be waiting that long.
He's like, you may not be having to wait too long for that, Joel. So
he's like, we already got it in the works.
Yeah. So, but back to the leather cleaning. So what we do is we spray that down. You could either spray the surface or spray your towel, depending on how heavy the soiling is. And what I do is I go in with an exfoliating pad, the first step. First, we vacuum out all the seams and everything of the leather areas. You know, if it's a seat, so just assume it's a seat. It's a driver's seat. It's pretty tough. So what we're doing is we're going to spray the section. We're not going to spray the whole thing. We're going to spray just the section that we're going to work on. We're going to let it dwell for a few seconds, depending on the temperature. We're going to let it dwell for a few seconds, and then we're going to exfoliate it. After we exfoliate, we're going to mop up. Okay. We're going to do that process as needed. Sometimes the vehicle we did today was like a 2000, maybe like
7.
Yeah, Chevy Tahoe with the light beige leather.
Dingy leather.
Yes.
Yeah, dingy.
It had the big cracks in it, the big creases that were just nasty. So what we do is, I had to exfoliate that twice. Mm-hmm. Then I went in with my steamer, steamed it out to really freshen it up, get anything else out, just any extra stuff that it may need in there. And then what we do is I have a bottle over here. Can you reach right back there, that leather treatment? Right there. We use this stuff here. PNS leather treatment and conditioner.
There it is.
Protect it. So this here, guys, has a beautiful smell as well. So it's going to condition your leather. It's going to protect and preserve. It infuses the leather with the fragrance, and
a little bit.
Yeah, it has a premium leather finish, and it has UV inhibitors. So this is actually going to protect the leather.
Important.
Very important.
Which is important.
Have you guys ever touched a leather seat that was just like hard? Like it almost felt like plastic.
Feels like plastic.
Yeah. It's just because it's so the fiber or the actual the hide has just gotten it's been weathered so much. What it's doing is it's the leather is it's expanding and contracting with heat and with heat and with cold. So at a certain point, if there's no protection on it, that thing is just getting beat up. Think of your skin just getting sunburned. That's what's happening to that leather. So, and when there's no protection on it, especially if it's sun facing, if it's a car that sat for a long time, usually you see that in the cars. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's usually in the area like right behind here. Mm-hmm. That's always the area that's just beat up. So that's
right on the sun side. Yeah.
Yep, from the sun side, from not having enough protection on it. So we use this guy here. You just have to be careful. On one of my videos, I have a good tip on how to apply, because if you have perforated seats, you don't want any of this lotion, because this is a lotion. You do not want that getting stuck in those little holes, because that is a pain. And there you go. You could set yourself back easily a half hour trying to remove everything with those little tiny holes. So that's how we do it, guys. And so I have a whole video for that. You guys can check that out. Just go check my my YouTube channel.
I'll put everything down below.
Yeah,
so you guys can check it out.
I use the extractor on a leather seat.
He does it.
Here we go.
But that's
I never seen one though, right? So it doesn't exist.
So that's start to finish with the leather, and you could do that for the door panels.
Okay.
Any accents, some glove compartments have leather on them, or lining. So that's it for the leather, guys.
So there you go, Oscar. You got Express Interior, which I thought I saw it right here. Express Interior Cleaner. I'm gonna link this up because this is my new favorite too. Express Interior Cleaner, and then the leather treatment from PNS. PNS has got everything. All the stuff I use from PNS has been great, so I just want to put that in there. It's been amazing. So, anyways, there you go, Oscar. So we've kind of already talked about how you started. We've talked about why you like detailing. We've talked about how you guys have grown the business together. We've talked about... I had a question here about your specialty, which it seems we are kind of already talked about it because it's about being well-rounded. You're more about being well-rounded with stuff. Now, when I look at you guys and what you guys post, I would say your specialty is more in even though you guys are amazing detailers, I see you guys really having a specialty in processes, in business. That's really where I see your stuff shine, at least for me, because I know I'm very interested in that because I'm a new business. But as far as actual things, the things that have really, really shocked me is some of the results you guys are getting from paint correction. And I know you talk about how that's your thing. You like to go for it 6 and just mow it down, man. So
I'm pretty harsh with it. Yeah, I'm intense with it. I don't like. There's a time and a place for everything, you know. And but as far as paint correction, that's something that I really hold dear to myself because it's a true craft.
It is,
and it's something that I have spent hours. You know, I've lost sleep over it. I've messed up. I've done things to where I've actually made the condition worse, and then I had to make it better. But all those come with a lesson, and with those lessons, I now am able to call myself a paint correction specialist. I've gone through training. There's still some advanced training I want to do. We do wet sanding here and there. It's not something that we do. Most of the vehicles that we do that would require wet sanding or would want wet sanding, we've kind of we pretty much with any client, especially if it's a collector or if it's a classic vehicle or something. I leave that to the guys that do the body work. I say, you know what, I'm not even gonna, and a lot of those guys have in-house body guys, paint and body guys. So for me to try to go in there as a detailer and refine, I'll tell them, hey, you guys prep it up all you want, but I'm not touching the, because some of these vehicles are irreplaceable. Some of these cars that we do, it's like, I'm not taking any sand to these guys.
No way.
We have an insurance policy on our business for, I think it's $2 million. We just upped it, but I'm not gonna mess around with wet sanding if I don't have to. But as far as correction, I could get down with the best of them with correction. I feel very confident in what we're capable of doing, and I learned all of that on a mobile level. People are always, yes, your working conditions play a big factor in the result, but if you have ingenuity, if you're able to improvise, if you have good technique, I have ceramic coated vehicles in the wind. Yeah. And made those things look better than any cars on the road. Yeah, well, black vehicles.
Don't tell anybody that because you have to have a garage. It has to be at 65 degrees. Yeah. There can't be any wind.
It has to cure over and this and that. You have to have the, the UV lights or infrared, whatever. I don't use any of that, and I have cars under my belt that have multiple award winners. Good guys. McGuire's Magnificent. Masterpiece Awards, Best of Show for Paint. Yeah, all of these under my belt, with me just doing what I do. And I think part of it is because I'm so detail oriented as a person in general. Like you see, everything about my life is very detail oriented. I'm very things have to be a certain way for me.
Would you say you're OCD?
I wouldn't say I'm OCD, but I want things a certain way.
So a little eccentric at times?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
I think that's actually a good quality to have for detailing because it's called detailing for a reason.
Yes.
It's important.
And there's things, Sal understands, and I think he understood from the beginning, but now he understands more than ever that, and there's times I have to remind myself too, okay, this may seem excessive to somebody on the outside. So there's times where I'm like, Sal, I know this sounds crazy, but we got to do even that. And he's just like, no, I get it. Because that thing is what separates us from everybody else. Yep. And that's how I break it down. And I think after the first time I told him that, with anything, he kind of got it okay, well, that's why we are who we are. That's why they called us That's what and it does put a lot of pressure on you. You know. And Sal going into cars, like for a detailer coming in with no experience and now working on like $1 million plus cars within what, a 6-month period, that can be pretty intimidating. Like he's putting his hands on cars that are just like, geez, like these are worth more than like 3 houses. Like
I don't want to say the name to these cars.
Yeah. Like, we don't even know how to pronounce like half of them, or it's just insane. Yeah. But for him to just be like, okay, well, I don't know, what was the first nice car that we even worked on? Like probably like somebody's Maserati or something, just a normal house car,
like
but
an everyday luxury car. You'd see an everyday supercar.
Yeah, but when we do show cars and when we do like these vintage exotic cars, that are just like insane, like it's
1 of 20.
Sometimes that Ferrari 1 out of 44 made.
Well, there's a couple cars that we do that are 1 of 2, 1 of 1.
That's nerve-wracking.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and that was one thing when we made terms with with the collectors, when we discussed things with them, we said, look, this is where we stand, this is what we do, and we've had no issues because the level of work that we're bringing,
And I've seen the posts of the vehicles that you worked on, like with the newer account that you got.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful, gorgeous cars.
Yeah.
The work is good, and the cars are just ridiculous.
Yeah, and we learned how to do all of this from very minimal tools and just how to do things by hand. And like I said, it kind of went full circle. It's like we don't use water on on probably about 30% of the vehicles that we do. We don't use water anymore. So Sal has had to learn a rinseless process. He's had we made a video on the rinseless process and people were hating on it. They're like, oh, why would you do that? You got to use all these towels. You got to do this. You got to do that. It's like, well, sometimes that's your client's preference.
That was the Mustang video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that one.
And once it's a client's preference, what are you going to do? Like, am I going to say, oh, I can't foam up this vintage Maserati, so I can't do it? You know what I mean? Like, no.
I don't think that's the right approach.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you're totally against rinseless washing, if you're, you know what I mean, then you're just cutting out a whole spectrum of work that, but being well-rounded, like you said, okay, what's our specialty? I think our specialty is being well-rounded.
And I think that's important.
I think our specialty is I don't think there's any other detailers, especially mobile detailers, that are as well-rounded, that are primarily mobile. Because you have guys that have shops and then they'll do mobile work, maintenance, stuff like that. But I want to say, like, horse trailers, showroom vehicles, daily drivers, disaster details.
Do it all.
You know what I mean? Like, you see the acid videos where we're just getting crazy, paint correction, scratch removal, engine cleaning, pet hair removal. Like,
don't
like,
say that.
You did. Oh, we have a process down. Pet hair removal is nothing to us.
By the way,
nothing.
I bought the tool through your link, and it works great.
Did you? You just have to be careful. I explained on the video.
Rough, yeah.
I explained on the video when to use it.
Yeah.
I made sure to include that. So.
Well, I used it on my wife's car. It wasn't actually necessarily pet hair; it was more lint. But it's technically it's a lint tool.
Yeah.
So I used it on there, and I was pretty light, but it was lint that I had been working on. I didn't put as much effort into it. It's my own vehicle.
Yeah.
As a customer's vehicle, but I've been like, you know what? Don't worry about it. And then I was like, let's try it out. Bam, right up.
Just be careful with it because, like, I had said it's for the longer napped carpets.
Yeah.
It works fantastic.
Yeah.
If you have an older vehicle, something like if you have something from the 80s, like a 5.0 or something, where those carpets are like better than house carpets.
Yeah.
We did one not too long ago. So I was like, yo, this is like real carpet, But yeah, there's
take a nap in that car.
Yeah, I think it's important for all detailers to be able to be well-rounded, because when you start to and you do have to step out of your comfort zone, and you do have to make mistakes, and you do have to take chances here and there. But yeah, I would say that's our specialty, is being well-rounded.
Good. Well, there you go. Be well-rounded, guys. Don't be afraid. Don't think that you have to be an expert in one specific thing, and that's how you. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's fine too.
Yeah, right. There's plenty of guys out there that have their expertise. Like, there's some guys that just do interiors.
Okay.
And there's some guys that just do paint correction. And don't get me wrong, from time to time, I get envious of both of them, because I'm like, oh man, I would really love to just be working on interiors like this week. You know what I mean?
Like we were talking about, I particularly like working on paintwork. I'm very interested in polishing and refining paint.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about trying new coatings and ceramic coating and sealants, and you see, I personally post a lot of videos on these foam cannon spray-on sealants, which I'm really into right now.
Okay.
I just, for some reason, to me, that's something that really gets me jazzed up.
Yeah.
Is paintwork and paint. I really want to get good at that.
Yeah.
Not that I don't want to do everything. I want to do it all.
Yeah.
But I like, for some reason, I really get into that kind of.
Yeah.
Personally,
And
I'm
if
really
you like
passionate
it,
about
you know,
that.
like for me, I think I spent a lot of time doing that work at the beginning, and I really enjoyed it. I liked the I guess you could call it like the isolation aspect of it, because I would just plug my headphones in and
it's
just
great.
go to work,
great.
and I'd be in a state to where time is no longer an object. Like I'm not, like I am totally lost in my work, and I do love that, because as an artist I spent a lot of time in the dark room, in that, you know, like really just working with my eyes, honing in on things with just my headphones on, and basically being by myself. You know, even if people were around, I'm still by myself. But the same thing, you know, that was the closest thing I've ever come to being into a dark room by myself, is being in that zone where you're just plugged in, and you're, you know, like the coders and guys that do stuff like that, like the tech guys that just boom, doing their thing, you know, like Sal can do that, just be like running numbers and stuff, just, you know what I mean? And
in the zone.
yeah, and that's
Block everything else out.
yeah, so I love that part of it. But now I think I'm more excited to go to work every day, because Sal gets to come over. We're in a good mood to you know, start our day. We do our stretches. We, you know, get everything ready and get to joke around and talk to one another.
Like we're having this conversation daily.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, daily.
That's why we're always ever evolving.
Yeah.
It's just daily.
Yeah.
And it's always about business.
Yeah.
You guys are making each other better.
Yeah. Pushing. Yesterday we solved 2 solutions yesterday in the van. 2 ones that were like, why haven't we done this already?
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah. Like one of them was so simple. We were taking off the hose to the big boy blower.
Yeah.
And then Sal was like, hey, I just put the hose on the blower itself, so now when I pull the blower out, the hose is already attached. Because before we were taking it off, and then we'd go back later and grab the hose.
Yeah, it cuts a step.
Yeah, it's like,
You're thinking,
why?
that's kind of a no-brainer. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But stuff like that. And then we moved our toolbox to a different area, and we're like,
So we can use the toolbox.
Use
because
the
where it
toolbox,
was at, it was too crammed, and it was
Yeah.
it was just a pain. Like we were talking yesterday. We were like, I just wouldn't get the pet hair tool. I would just keep working on it, because I didn't want to have to deal with the toolbox, because we didn't want to have to deal with opening the toolbox, because it was in such a tight area. So
it was like whoever's by the van. Hey, I need that tool.
And they're like,
Okay.
I don't want to do that yet.
So we solved those 2 yesterday just by you
Yeah.
know just by talking and communicating with each other. Well, why don't we do this? And we spent an extra 20 minutes after work doing the same thing. Quick releases. Oh well, let's get quick releases for these. Boom, boom, boom. Everything quick
quick
releases.
releases
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just that's just what we guys. That's a tip for you guys. Whatever you guys hate, fix it.
Fix it.
Yes.
Fix it.
Fix it.
Well, I want to hit on two more questions. I mean, we could talk for hours, but for the sake of a YouTube video, we could do a number 2 if we need to. But one that I actually just thought about right now was to focus on Sal. Is how do you feel your life has improved since you've joined with your brother here and started doing this business?
Oh.
It seems like you're really happy.
Well, my
Day-to-day.
life, man, it's just there's a reason now. It's not just it's just not the same old thing.
Yeah.
Anymore. It's let's get down to business.
You're excited about it, right?
Yeah, it's like we can make we have all the power. Never ever worked anywhere where you're always handicapped. Now it's just, again, we hate something. Let's fix it.
Yeah.
It's up to us to fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Good.
We're I mean, like to go back on the fishies, like we're doing with the shoes that we wear. We're trying what shoes are better. What outerwear is better.
Everything.
Like just everything.
Whatever
Yes.
makes it better.
Whatever makes it better. And it's like, now we don't bear any expense at anything, because we're at the point now. It's like, okay, well, now we've tried everything. I've started from the bottom. I know what works. And Sal will come to me, you know, with ideas. Oh, have you tried this other? Sometimes I have. I'm like, nah, that doesn't work. Trust me, because you run into this one. Oh, I didn't think about that. I'm like, yeah, I only know because I did it. You know.
Yeah.
And then there's other things where he'll come to, because he has a whole outside perspective, where he's like, oh, have you tried this? No, we haven't, but we can. Let's
Yeah, why
explore
not?
it. Let's see how it goes. And I think people need to get more creative in that sense. You know, it's not like
Yeah.
people are buying these vans, cookie cutter, have everything already in it, and they think, oh, it's ready to go. It's not ready to go.
Yeah.
It's ready to go, like as far as to transport what you need to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
But to work efficiently, it may not work. That's
Yeah.
why I got mine custom made.
There's not a one
because
step
it
for
wasn't,
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't efficient for me for what
Mhm.
I was doing. I don't need a 100-gallon water tank. Most people don't need a 100-gallon water tank.
No, I have a 90, and I don't even need that much most
No,
days.
you could probably go with half of that.
Yeah.
You know, to be honest,
Well,
if you're doing fleet work or something, yes, I get it. But or maybe if you're somewhere far from where you can get DI water or whatever, and say you can only make it out there once a week or whatever,
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But if you don't need to, especially now with gas prices being the way they are,
man,
if you're running around with that van with a 90-gallon or 100-gallon water tank, you're putting on some some mileage. Like you're making it a lot harder, not only on the wear and tear of that vehicle, but your pocketbook as well.
Yeah.
So-
Water's 8 pounds a gallon. Just so you know, it's 8 and some change a gallon. I've done it. I'm almost about 900 pounds in water just in my trailer.
Yeah.
And my trailer's made of steel, as opposed to a lot of aluminum trailers because it was custom made.
Yeah.
And I have a truck that gets 12 miles to the gallon. So it's you should think about that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff matters.
Oh, it does matter in your business.
I love hearing those things too.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
people
Oh
say
yeah,
those
because
things like,
how many times do we
I
fill?
figured it
How
out.
many times do we fill up the generator and our gas? So we run with a small generator, I think it's 1.6 gallon generator,
Yeah.
and then we have a 2-gallon
gas can.
gas can. On a weekly basis, we probably fill that up once, maybe twice, both of those.
That's good. I have the typical 3500 Predator that everybody has. I think that's a 2-gallon, and I carry a 5-gallon gas tank around.
Yeah.
And I probably fill it up. Yeah, probably maybe once, 1.5 times a week,
Yeah.
depending.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm taking way longer on jobs just because
That's you, yeah.
Well, you've been doing it a lot longer. Plus, you also have somebody helping you.
Yeah.
So mine is constantly running for a lot of hours. So I'm burning through more.
And
gas.
there's a lot of techniques around that too. And we didn't do it by design or for an efficiency well, we actually did kind of do it for efficiency purposes, but it worked out in the way where we're actually cutting down on our gas. Like we run it only in eco mode.
Yeah.
And then we're also running with a battery powered backpack now.
Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty
Yes.
fancy, man.
Yeah.
The Peter, right?
Back.
Game changer if you're running with
Right.
2 people. If you're doing
Yeah.
it right, it could be a game changer. If just like anything else,
Yeah.
a van could be a game changer if you're doing it right, or
Yeah.
it could not change much at all for your business.
Yeah.
But yeah, doing that, and then what else have we done? The compressed air, incorporating compressed air. Like
I
you
love
cut
compressed air,
down
yeah.
on like our maintenance and stuff. I don't need to be pulling out my steamer. Like there's no reason to pull out my steamer for a maintenance client.
Nuh-uh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here and there, maybe. I think I probably pull it out maybe once every quarter for the maintenance clients because like okay, maybe it just needs to if they went on a long road trip or something, okay, let's really freshen it up this time so next time it's not as crazy, whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does need that extra. So
Yeah, and that depends on, like we had talked about, it depends on what you're going to offer in your maintenance plan or what type of maintenance you're doing.
Yeah.
Like particularly in my maintenance plan, I usually offer 1 spot removal a month, just to help them out. Like
Yeah.
sometimes if I'm in there and I see something sticky on there, I'm just going to get it out for them because
Right.
they're a good customer of mine, right?
Yeah. We
You
do
gotta-
one-step polish a year, complimentary.
I didn't even think of that. That's a
Because
great,
what it does is it
great
keeps
thing.
the car, and we do it. We're coming up on it this month, actually. On like 3 of them, we're gonna do. We're doing. We got a BMW, we got a truck, and we have something else that because we put we do the spray graphene on
Yep.
all of our maintenance.
You were telling me
But
that,
yeah, so once we kind of feel that's starting to kind of like lose its oomph, we're like okay, and then over time it doesn't matter how good you're washing the vehicle, how careful
Everything
it's
degrades.
gonna so you lose that pop, and we just want to make sure that they always have that, so we give it that extra that extra pop once a year for them, and then it kind of helps out. It just cleanses the surface, and it makes it easier for you to wash, so and it
Sure.
keeps it looking good, so and it takes us extra I can knock out a 1 step in like 15-20 minutes, miles, you know, on a maintenance vehicle.
Yeah. Which is really fast, by the way.
Yeah, I'm pretty quick.
I gotta figure
I'm
that
pretty
out.
quick. Yeah.
I gotta figure that's taking me to do a one step. It's gonna be a couple hours.
Yeah, no, I can show
Maybe
you.
I'm doing too much of a one step.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
so
can show you.
we always say too, if you think you're taking too long, you
Probably
are
taking
taking
You
too
are.
long.
Well, like I said, we could talk all day about this, but I want to ask you guys about these things because, for one, I know that you guys have helped me tremendously, and you've been very nice, and I really appreciate that, and that's why I want to do this video and meet you in person. Nice. And I want to put any way we can get the info that you guys are spreading even more, even if it is for a smaller channel like myself or however we can do that. That's why I want to do this today. So I know that we had talked before about, and we kind of mentioned how you're going to take a different direction YouTube-wise. So that's really my last question is, what is your plan for YouTube? What can people look forward to from you guys so they can make sure to subscribe and know that some things are coming their way?
Okay. Yeah. So first and foremost, the reason I started the channel was to get the whole concept behind it was to help the detailers out there in the field working. There was really nobody on site showing you the processes that need to get done, and I felt teaming up with the somebody that's doing the camera work and the editing allows me to kind of step back and kind of show exactly how to take care of real world situations and things that are going on. And also with the incorporation of Sal to the business, it made it to where I was able to kind of go off and narrate a little bit more and not stop on productivity, because Sal was still working or he was talking to the camera and vice versa. But to really just show people, hey, there's a different way to do these things. Like there's a way to save time doing this. There's a way to be more efficient. There's a way to cut costs. There's a way to to manage your time better. There's a way to give better customer service. There's a way to do all these things to help boost not only your productivity but your business ethics in general. The profession for me, it was lacking a lot of professionalism, and I see a lot of detailers now out there looking a lot sharper.
Yeah, good for them.
Wearing a lot more uniforms. Using a lot of the products that and a lot of the tools and stuff that we've been using that maybe nobody was wearing before. And
he's talking about me right now.
No, I'm not. No, I was talking about just in general. But
unapologetically, I'm one of them. Yeah.
But I feel like we played a big role in that. Like come correct, and treat your business like a business.
Show them why you are who you are.
Yeah, and I'm starting to see guys out there. I'm like, okay, he's stepping his game up. I see he got uniforms now. Okay, he's stepping his game up. He got, like I'm seeing it out there, and you know what I mean. And that comes with the territory, awesome. And I feel like it's. I feel like we can take a little bit of credit for that, because that was something I always held really deeply into myself, is my brand. Like I've always, like it still is, and now we got people trying to steal and copy our brand. But I made sure that thing was protected, son.
Do you have a video on there, or was that a live stream that you talked about it?
I don't have a video on it, but we're going to be making a video on it.
Okay,
yeah.
That's an interesting thing to talk about.
Yeah, it is the legal aspect of your brand and your, are you trademarked? Do you have any kind of, do you understand what it is to have your brand a registered trademark?
Yeah, you made me start thinking about it too.
Yeah, because I've had a few people try to take from it, but it's
well, it's a good looking logo.
Thank you.
And when you look at it, it seems kind of obvious. You're a detailer, and it's called Details.
Yeah.
But I think there's something that stands out in the simplicity. Yeah. Like details. Right? You're a detailer. But I really like the first of all, when I see your logo and I see the stripes through it, I think Adidas, which clearly we all like that kind of stuff. I see like something that people are going to remember. Yeah. And it's simple, but it's powerful. Yeah.
There was a lot of thought that that was put into it, and a very, very good friend of mine, a very talented friend of mine, who we'll have on the channel, is going to be talking about the importance of it. So and he's probably going to get a lot of business through it.
Good.
Because he's good at what he does. He's great. He's truly one of the best.
I might have to hit him up. I have to start saving so I can afford him.
And he, but yeah. So as far as the YouTube channel, we're going to have things like that. You know, things that are a little bit more business oriented. Things that kind of really, I want to take input from other people, or just, you know, from the pool of questions that we get on the regular about certain things, and really dive deeper into them
less really, flash, more this is going to help you be better.
I want to see everybody succeed. You know, even today when we're talking about, no matter what level you're at, don't be embarrassed of what you have. Don't be, everybody has a starting point, you know, and that's the hardest part. You know, it was very humbling for me to go from living in this, you know, 3-story glass front home in the Oakland, you know, hills, and then just, you know, with my big flashy Audi, you know, to moving back home, washing cars for people that I went to high school with.
Oh yeah.
You know, like that is like if you, that was like to me, and then, you know, running into people and they're, oh, what are you up to now, Joel? Oh, I'm detailing cars. Oh, you're washing cars? You know, and the last time they saw me, I was in a suit.
Yeah, I'm not washing cars. I'm detailing cars.
But it's but at that, you know, like it's a transition, and it's a life-changing transformation that you're going through. Yeah. And I think people need to understand that more than anything else. Like, there's a lot more that goes along with this, and I just want to be there to somewhat help, encourage, and keep people on the right track so they can get there, because I think a lot of people cut themselves short, or they quit too early. You know, and you never know when things are just gonna blow. Like me and Sal, Sal had already seen it. He knew something was happening. He was like, "Bro, if I don't jump in right now, somebody else, you're gonna get somebody else, and I'm gonna regret this, like, for a long time." Yeah. So, you know, and as you're actually growing, you don't see it around you. It's kind of like a weight loss journey. If you ever lost weight, like, you see yourself every day.
More times than I'm willing to admit.
Yeah. So you're not seeing the results every day, but people around you are saying, "Oh man," you know, people are telling me, "Hey man, you look like you're doing good. Like, you guys are really jumping off on." Yeah, it's getting there, but you know, when I'm working all day long, like, I'm not, you know, I'm not sitting back and really appreciating it. Yeah. And I think now with things that are happening now, and seeing that I'm really influencing people, like, you know, like, I love seeing guys, I'm like, okay, this guy's, you know what I mean, like, businessman Cam, you know, Mendez, you know, like, all these guys that are, you know what I mean, that I'm seeing, like, I'm actually seeing the progression of their channels, not only their channels, but their work and their clientele. Man, that makes us so happy. And just people, you know, people that call me for consulting and that are just like, "Oh my goodness, nobody told me about any of this stuff." Because when you call me on my consulting line, it's not just the cookie cutter stuff that people tell you. Like, I'm digging deep. Like, you're paying for this service, so I'm gonna give you what you ask for, like, uncut, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. And if I have any experience firsthand on it, I'm going to give it to you the realest way possible. So being able to see people develop and grow, to me, is like the best thing, you know. And me and Sal, we watch these guys too, the same guys that watch us, and we're just like, man, look at them, they're doing so good, like, good for them, you know what I mean? And you literally see the demeanor change. You see the way they carry themselves change. You see the confidence change. You see all these things happen, and it's such a rewarding feeling knowing that, okay, I'm a part of this community too, and I'm giving in some way to this. You know, I'm not taking credit for anything, but, you know, at the same time, I'm like, we're a part of this. Like, when we go to events and stuff, people are like, "Oh man, I learned so much from you," or "Thank you so much." Like, you know, and it's just, it's kind of, you know, it's almost like unbelievable to be like, wow, this is very, you know, it does make you feel good. You know, it's touching to know that you're helping people.
Home. Definitely hits home.
Oh yeah, you know, there's people that, you know, whenever we go and buy detail supplies, there's always somebody that's just like, "Oh, okay, all right," you know, and even the people that supported us at the beginning, you know, like Steven, like, he's P&S, like they're, we're not endorsed by P&S. Like we everybody says.
Sure about that?
Everybody says that, but it's just something.
That's because it works good.
Yeah, and I believe in them.
Results,
I
yeah.
believe in the company. You know, just like I believe in you. I believe in.
Appreciate that.
I believe in anybody that's trying to better themselves.
Yeah.
There's no room for this competitive, headspace or this hate or this person's not doing that. Yes, there's things that people are going to do differently than you. It may not work out. It may work out, but that's not your business. We were talking about this earlier. What somebody charges here, it's not your business. Like, it's literally, not that it's your business, get out of my business. No, it's literally their business. Yeah. Like, stay out of their business. Like, that's not your business. If it was your business, you'd be doing it a different way because it's your business. But it's not.
Yeah.
If they want the advice, or if they have questions, or they need any help, they'll reach out, or you're there for that. But in the meantime, just kind of do your thing and be supportive. And I want everybody to eat. I want all of us detailers to do good. And this is something that came from me also from the guys at P&S, the brothers. Mm-hmm. When I went in for the training the first time, we're sitting there at lunch. And people are talking, and they start talking about, and naturally you're there at a P&S thing, so people start to kind of mention other products, other product lines. And both the brothers said, all the products out there, if they've been around for X amount of time, obviously they're good. Mm-hmm. But they also said, what we understood very early was that it doesn't matter what brand these detailers are using. It doesn't matter where the detailers are from. It doesn't matter what the detailers are charging. All that matters is that there's detailers out there doing their thing, because that's good for the detail business and industry as a whole.
It's good, yeah.
So that's always good. So their mentality is not, you got to use our stuff to be good. It's like, no, use whatever, because you're making the industry grow. Therefore, they're a piece of that pie in the industry, just like us. We're a piece of the detailing pie. Yep. That X amount of people are going to pay for to take care, service, and detail their vehicles. So no matter where you're at, what you're doing, you could be our neighbor or you could be across the country. It doesn't matter. As long as you're involved and you're doing this, it's good for the industry. We don't see anybody as competition, and we're not saying that because we think we're better or we're making comparisons. I'm just saying that as a whole. You know what I mean? Like it's there is no competition. There shouldn't be a competition in your mind. You should be focused on your business.
There's enough work for everybody.
Yeah, and if you're not focused on your business, if you're focused on somebody else's business, you're taking away.
Not focused.
Yeah, you're not focused on your business.
You're not focused on
your
business.
You're taking away your biggest asset, which is your mind, your creativity, your hustle, your mindset, your mentality, your manifestations, whatever it is. You're taking that away from your business and putting it onto somebody else's business. Yeah. That's not where you need to be, So I just want this community to just understand, like, yo, we're here for everybody. We want everybody to do good. Like,
I appreciate that.
And in any way we could help. That's what we're about. Because we thought about different directions that we wanted to do. We're like, no, man, this is just going to be, because you have some detailers out there critiquing people. You have somebody like that. That's not our thing. Like, if you want us to, if you want us to help you, and that's what I used to do in my previous jobs. Was I was the one that would go around and clean up all the, whether it was restaurants, retail, or clinical. I would go to the locations. It was my job to go to other locations and make sure the efficiencies are in place. The space efficiency, the labor payroll efficiencies, the standards, all of those things were being rolled out and done properly. Right. You know what I mean? So if you need help from me in those aspects, hey, I'm here for you. But I'm not going to go and say, oh, this guy's doing it wrong, this and that. I may have that opinion in my mind, but I'm not going to put it on blast. Yeah. I'm not going to try to, you know what I mean? That's not doing anybody. If somebody asks me for their opinion, yes, let's do it. Let's do it. Let me help you. That's where it's coming from. It's not coming from a place of shaming anybody or or belittling anybody about their business, because everybody's at different places in my business. You could have told me we could have been having this conversation 2 years ago, and I probably wouldn't be this well versed in the just the whole spectrum of detailing itself.
Yeah,
because,
you want to bring people up, not push them down and make yourself feel higher.
yeah, that does nothing for any of us. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, all the detailers that I've ever done anything for, man, it makes me feel so good to see them doing well. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I'll be the first one to stick up for another detailer when there's somebody, you know, on YouTube talking trash about another detailer. I'm like, yo, man, that's not. You know, first of all, you probably don't understand because you probably are not a detailer that's working day to day. So obviously, there's different reasons people are doing different things.
And situation dictates.
Yeah,
everything.
Absolutely.
Everything.
I agree with that.
You know, so
you might do something different when you're mobile as opposed to in your shop.
Yeah.
You
know, and
you might be doing something different when you're watching it on YouTube when you're in real life.
Oh yeah. Put you in
that situation.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh well, today we're gonna do.
Yeah.
I've been caught slipping a few times.
Yeah. But that's life. You know what I mean? And it's just, you know, I want to see everybody do good. We truly want to see everybody do good. We're not guys that compare things to one, because we're you know what I mean, like we're past that. We're in a good place, so we want to do good, positive things for people. We want to encourage people. Like, for me, that's the biggest. I don't want to see anybody give up on their dream because they felt like they didn't have it, or they felt like it was too hard, because I think there's a solution out there for everything, and that's what people need to understand.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you guys for taking the time. I know we could, like I said, we could talk for hours, but I really appreciate the info. I hope you guys really got something good out of here. You can see that Joel and Sal are real dudes giving real results, and they're ready to help you guys. So I'm going to have everything that we talked about linked below, PNS products, his consulting line, everything. I'm going to have all that listed below. That way you can check that out if you want to. Appreciate you guys watching. I know this was a long one, but I think this was packed full of good information. So I really hope you guys got to the end of this video. And if you did, thank you guys. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you go check out their channel, subscribe, like their videos, check all that out, and we'll come back to you soon with something else. All right?
Thank you.
Stay safe. Have a good day.